June stared at the weathered metal panel, his breath quickening as he brushed away centuries of dust with a trembling hand. The young Selaxian archaeologist had spent 3 cycles excavating this desolate planet at the edge of the Helios cluster, enduring ridicule from the Galactic Academic Council. "Impossible," he whispered, tracing the strange symbols etched into the surface. His translator implant struggled to process the ancient language. His research assistant, Dai, skittered across the dig site on her 6 appendages. "What have you found?" "Something that shouldn't exist." June's 4 eyes widened as his scanner finally decoded the text. This facility was built by a species called humans. Humans? Dai clicked her mandibles skeptically. "There's no record of such a species." June's scanner beeped as it completed its analysis. "This structure is over 50,000 years old, Dai. It predates all known civilizations." As if responding to his words, the ground trembled. A hidden doorway slid open in the rock face, revealing a corridor illuminated by lights that somehow still functioned after millennia of dormancy. "That's not possible," Dai whispered. "No power source should last that long." June stepped forward, both hearts pounding in his chest. These humans, they were more advanced than we thought. The corridor had stretched into darkness, despite the soft blue lights that lined its walls. June took a cautious step inside, feeling the temperature drop as he crossed the threshold. The air was surprisingly fresh, not stale as one would expect after thousands of years sealed away. "Should we call for backup?" Dai asked, her mandibles clicking nervously. June shook his head. "The council would just send someone to shut us down. They've made it clear they think this dig is a waste of resources." Day followed him inside, her 6 legs making soft tapping sounds on the smooth floor. "The council has been wrong before." As they moved deeper into the facility, June's scanner picked up more signals. The walls were lined with strange panels and screens, all dark now but somehow intact. Occasionally, they passed doorways leading to rooms filled with equipment unlike anything in modern galactic technology. "Look at this," June said, stopping before a large circular platform in what appeared to be a central chamber. "The design is completely different from anything in our archives." Day examined a nearby console. "These controls, they seem made for beings with fewer digits than us." June approached a wall covered in symbols similar to those outside. He ran his scanner over them, and his translator implant hummed as it attempted to process the language. "It's speaking of stars being moved, planets being shaped." June's outer eyes blinked in confusion. Either my translator is malfunctioning, or these humans claim to build solar systems. "That's beyond even theoretical science," Dai said. "No species could harness that kind of energy." June's scanner suddenly beeped loudly. "There's a power source nearby. Active." They followed the signal to a small room off the main chamber. Inside was a cube, no larger than June's hand, floating in the center of a containment field. It pulsed with a soft white light. "What is it?" Dai asked, moving closer. "I don't know." June scanned it carefully. "It's putting out enough energy to power a small city, but I can't identify the source." Suddenly, the cube pulsed brighter. A beam of light shot out from it, sweeping over both June and Dai before they could react. Then a voice filled the room, speaking in a language neither had heard before. But strangely, June understood it. "Biological entities detected. Non-human. Protocol 7 activated." "It's talking to us," Dai whispered, backing away. The cube rose higher in its field. "This is Outpost Delta 9, Human Scientific Research Facility. State your species and intent." June stepped forward. "I am June, archaeologist of the Talaxian species. This is my assistant Dai. We are explorers." The cube pulsed again. "Talaxian. Species record found. Genetic modifications successful. Your evolution proceeded as designed." "What?" June felt his scales tighten against his body in shock. "What do you mean, as designed?" Human Protocol. In absence of human authorities, limited information may be shared with Level 3 civilizations. The cube projected a hologram showing a bipedal creature with 2 arms, 2 legs, and only 2 eyes. Humans created the Galaxian species through genetic engineering of native fauna on your homeworld, approximately 49,876 standard years ago. Day gasped. That's a lie. Our history goes back millions of years. Correct. Your planet's history is ancient. Your species in its current form is not. The cube's light dimmed slightly. You are one of 17 species successfully uplifted by the Human Galactic Authority before the Ascension. June could barely process what he was hearing. If humans were so powerful, where are they now? Why is there no record of them? The cube pulsed rapidly. The Ascension Protocol was enacted 50,000 years ago. All human populations transcended physical form. Records were deliberately obscured to allow new species natural development without interference. You expect us to believe an entire species just disappeared? Dai clicked angrily. Not disappeared. Evolved beyond necessity of physical form. The cube projected another image, this time of a massive structure orbiting a distant star. Transcendence gates exist at coordinates embedded in this facility's database. When your civilization reaches appropriate technological and ethical development, you may make contact. June's mind raced. If this was true, it would rewrite galactic history. Every known species might have been created or guided by these humans. The implications were enormous. Who decides when we're ready for contact? June asked. You do, the cube replied simply. This facility is one of many. Each discovery triggers evaluation protocols. Your finding this outpost is the first step. The cube suddenly dropped back to its original position, its light fading to a soft glow. Full historical archives unlocked. Warning. Information renders most current scientific and historical paradigms obsolete. Proceed with caution. A panel slid open in the wall, revealing a small device similar to June's datapad, but clearly of different design. We should take this to the council, Daz said quietly. They need to see this. June picked up the device carefully. The same council that laughed when I proposed this dig. The same scholars who built their careers on theories this would destroy. Then what do we do? June looked around at the ancient human facility, still functioning perfectly after 50,000 years. We learn everything we can. Then we find others who will listen. He held up the device, which had begun to glow softly in his hand. And then we find out if these humans truly are still out there, watching us. As they turned to leave, neither noticed the small maintenance drone that detached from the ceiling and began to follow them silently. The facility had awakened fully now, and somewhere across the galaxy, a signal was sent for the first time in 50 millennia. The humans were about to return. 6 months later, June stood before a holographic map spanning half the known galaxy. Dozens of points pulsed with light, each representing a confirmed human ruin. They were everywhere, said Hana, the newest member of his research team. The tall, crystalline, tangerine surface shimmered with excitement. Not just colonies, they shaped entire worlds. June nodded. The Council still refuses to acknowledge our findings. Let them deny it, said Min, the team's linguist, his gelatinous form rippling as he sorted through translated text fragments. The evidence speaks for itself. Min projected a 3-dimensional image from his datapad. I've decoded more of their records. Humans weren't just another spacefaring race. They were the first. They unified the early galaxy when other species were barely achieving spaceflight. What happened to them? Asked Hana. There are references to something called the Ascension, Min replied. A planned event, not a catastrophe. Something they prepared for across thousands of years. June studied the artifacts they had collected, devices still beyond their understanding, materials unknown to modern science, and mathematical concepts that challenged fundamental physics. The Council fears what we'll find, June said quietly. Because if humans achieved all this so long ago, then what does that make us? Dai finished his thought. Children playing with toys we didn't build. The small research facility on the outskirts of the Salaxian Science District buzzed with activity. What had started as June's disgraced solo project had grown into a secret research team of 12 specialists from 8 different species. They worked in a building that officially didn't exist, funded by private donors who questioned the Council's rigid views. June touched one of the glowing points on the map. We've confirmed 37 sites so far. Each one contains technology that contradicts everything we've been taught about galactic development. Day pulled up images from their most recent expedition. The ruins on Chorus Prime show evidence of atmospheric engineering on a planetary scale. The scientists there still think it's a natural formation. It's the same pattern everywhere, said Jun, a blue-skinned astronomer whose 4 arms worked multiple consoles simultaneously. We've been taught that the galaxy evolved naturally, but these ruins suggest otherwise. The humans shaped everything. Min floated closer, his transparent body containing swirling patterns of color that indicated excitement. The language archives we found on Nexus 3 contained something remarkable. A complete record of the human genetic modification program. He projected a new image, showing a string of complex molecules. They didn't just build machines. They built life. Us. The room fell silent as the team members processed this information. All of us? Asked one, a small reptilian botanist. Not all, but many. According to these records, 17 major spacefaring species were either created or modified by humans. Salaxians, Tandarans, Geloids like Min, all shaped by human scientists. Hannah's crystalline form darkened, a sign of distress among her kind. Why would they do this? And why hide it? Jun picked up a small cube, the same device they had found in the first ruins. It now sat on his desk, occasionally pulsing with soft light. This says it was to prepare the galaxy for what would come after them. After the ascension, Dai added. June nodded. They knew they were going to evolve beyond physical form. They wanted to ensure the galaxy would continue to develop. One scuttled across the table, his clawed feet clicking. It makes no sense. If they were so advanced, why not just stay and rule everything? Why create new species and then vanish? Perhaps they weren't conquerors, said Tam, an elderly 4-armed historian who had joined the team after being dismissed from the academy for supporting June's theories. Perhaps they were gardeners. The door to the lab suddenly slid open. Han entered, his scales dark with exhaustion. As their security specialist, he monitored council communications. "We have a problem," he said, dropping a datapad on the central table. "The council has declared all human research sites restricted. They're sending enforcement teams to shut down all expeditions." "They can't just ignore the evidence," Hannah protested. "They can, and they are," Han replied. The official statement calls it dangerous speculation that threatens social stability. June wasn't surprised. For 6 months, they had presented finding after finding, only to be met with denial and eventually hostility. "What do we do now?" asked Da. June looked at the map again, focusing on a point at the edge of known space. "There's one site we haven't told them about. The signal we detected in the Vorlon expanse." Min's gelatinous form rippled with concern. "That's beyond council jurisdiction. We'd need a deep space vessel, permits." "I have a ship," said a voice from the doorway. They turned to see Jai, a tall, lean being with silver skin that reflected the room's lights. No one had heard him enter. "Who are you?" Han moved protectively toward the team. "Someone who has been watching your work with great interest," Jai replied. "My ship can take us to the Vorlon expanse without alerting the council." "Why would you help us?" June asked suspiciously. Jai smiled, an expression that looked oddly practiced. "Because I've been searching for human ruins for much longer than you have. Your discovery of the cube activated dormant systems across the galaxy. Systems I've been trying to access for decades." "You're not Salaxian," said Dai, studying his unusual appearance. "No," Jai agreed. "I'm a watcher. We few remain aware of human history, guarding the knowledge until the time is right." June stepped closer to the stranger. "Why should we trust you?" Jai held out his hand, palm up. A small hologram appeared, showing a structure identical to the one from the cube's projection. "Because I know where the nearest Transcendence Gate is located, and I believe it's still active." The team exchanged glances, a mixture of excitement and fear passing between them. "The council will be here within days," Han warned. "If we're going to do something, it needs to be now." June looked at the artifacts they had gathered, the knowledge they had pieced together from ruins across the galaxy. All of it pointed to a truth too significant to ignore. "Pack everything essential," he said finally. "If the council wants to bury this discovery, they'll have to chase us across the stars to do it." As the team rushed to prepare, June noticed the small cube pulsing more rapidly than before. He picked it up, feeling its warmth against his scales. "What are you trying to tell us?" he whispered. The cube projected a single line of text in the ancient human language. "The Watchers have awakened. Ascension Protocol Phase 2 initiated." Whatever they were about to discover, June knew the galaxy would never be the same again. The desolate moon orbited a gas giant in an unremarkable system. But beneath its cratered surface, June's team had discovered the largest human archive yet. "It's activating," said Sue, their systems expert, as the ancient console responded to their presence. The air grew charged with energy as dormant systems awakened. Holographic displays materialized around them, showing images of bipedal beings with varied skin tones and no exoskeletons. "Humans. By the stars," whispered Hannah. "They look so fragile." Min's translation algorithm processed the incoming data. "Fragile? Hardly. Listen to this. Humans can survive radiation levels that would kill most species. They can heal from injuries that would be fatal to others. Their endurance allowed them to hunt prey by simply following it until exhaustion." "That can't be right," said Dai skeptically. "There's more," continued Min. "It says humans uplifted dozens of species, including early Xalaxians." June felt his exoskeleton tighten around his body. "We've been taught that we evolved naturally." "The glowing nebula," Sue interjected suddenly. "The crystal pillars of Andromeda, the singing void, all those natural wonders we've been studying for generations. They're machines, human machines." The archive projected a galaxy-wide map highlighting thousands of structures scattered across space, all bearing the distinctive human signature. "They didn't just visit the galaxy," Jones said quietly. "They shaped it." Jai moved slowly around the chamber, his silver skin reflecting the blue light of the holographic displays. "I'd spent 3 lifetimes searching for this place," he whispered. The journey to this moon had taken 2 weeks in Joe's vessel, a ship unlike any the team had seen before. It moved through space using principles that defied current physics, and now June understood why. It had been built using human knowledge. Sue touched one of the floating displays, and it expanded to show detailed schematics of a bipedal body. Their biology was so simple, yet so effective. No redundant organs like we have, minimal natural protection, but look at their brain structure. The display zoomed in on the human nervous system. Their neural density was 3 times that of any known species, Sue continued, and their ability to form new neural pathways was remarkable. They could learn and adapt faster than any species alive today. Day remained skeptical. If they were so advanced, why do we find only ruins? Why did they disappear? Min floated toward another console. "I'm finding references to something they called the Great Filter." "What's that?" asked Hannah, her crystalline form catching the light. "A theory about why advanced civilizations are rare," Min explained. "Most species destroy themselves before achieving true space travel. Humans nearly did, but they survived and discovered something no other species had." "What?" June leaned forward. The nature of consciousness itself. Min's gelatinous form pulsed with excitement. They found a way to separate it from physical form. The central platform in the chamber suddenly lit up, and a new hologram appeared. A human female with dark skin and eyes that seemed to look directly at each of them. "Welcome, children of the stars," the hologram said in perfect galactic standard. "If you are viewing this message, the awakening protocol has begun." "It's speaking our language," whispered one. "This is a simulation based on historical records," the hologram explained. "I am a representation of Dr. Jin, lead scientist of the Human Ascension Project." June stepped forward. "What was the ascension?" The holographic human smiled. "The next step in our evolution. For 100,000 years, humanity explored the stars. We built great wonders, studied the fundamental nature of reality, and cultivated life where we found it promising." Images appeared around them. Humans constructing massive structures in space, terraforming barren planets, working with primitive versions of species now common throughout the galaxy. "But we reached the limits of what physical bodies could achieve," the hologram continued. "Our minds outgrew our forms. We discovered that consciousness could exist independent of biology, in a state of pure energy and information. They became energy beings." Sue asked, her technical mind struggling with the concept. "More than that," the hologram replied. "We transcended to a higher dimensional plane, where time and space operate differently, where thought itself can reshape reality." Jai moved closer to the hologram, an unusual emotion playing across his silver features. "Did all humans ascend?" "No," the hologram answered. "Some chose to remain as guardians and watchers. Some chose reincarnation into new forms. The ascension was a choice, not a requirement." June suddenly understood. He turned to Jai. "You're human, aren't you? One who stayed behind." Jai's silver skin rippled, and for a moment, his appearance shifted, revealing a glimpse of a form more like those in the holograms. "I am a keeper," Jai said quietly. "One of those who chose to remain and watch over the younger races." The hologram of Dr. Jin continued. "We knew our departure would create a void. Nature abhors vacuums, especially in power. So we prepared the galaxy, seeding it with species we believed had potential, leaving knowledge that would be discovered when those species were ready." "Ready for what?" asked Hana. "For contact," the hologram replied. "The Ascended maintain awareness of this dimension. We, have been watching." The Transcendence gates were left dormant but intact, allowing communication when the time was right. Day moved forward, her skepticism giving way to wonder. "Why now? Why reveal all this to us after 50,000 years?" The hologram's expression became serious. "Because the galaxy faces a threat that the younger races cannot defeat alone. A threat we encountered before our ascension." New images appeared, showing strange, dark vessels moving through space. Planets turned barren in their wake. "We called them the Void," the hologram explained. "They exist partially in this dimension, and partially in others. They consume energy at its most fundamental level, the energy of life and consciousness itself." "I've never heard of such a species," said Tam, the historian. "They come from beyond the galactic rim," Jai explained. "They hibernate for millennia between feeding cycles. The humans encountered them during their final expansion phase." The hologram nodded. "We drove them back, but at great cost. We knew they would return eventually. The ascension was partly to prepare for that return, to evolve into beings that could better combat them." June felt a chill despite the warmth of the chamber. "Are you saying they're coming back?" "They have already begun to awaken," the hologram said solemnly. "Your discovery of our ruins was no accident. The Keeper guided you here because the first signs have appeared. The Void will reach populated systems within 5 of your years." The team looked at each other in horror. "What can we possibly do against something like that?" one asked. The hologram's expression softened. "You are not alone, children of the stars. The Ascended will help you, But first you must activate the Transcendence Gate. It is time for humanity to return to the galaxy we once shaped. The chamber hummed with energy as new doorways opened along its walls, revealing deeper sections of the archive. Down there, Jai said, pointing to the largest passage, lies the knowledge to activate the nearest gate. June looked at his team, at the enormous discovery they had made, and at the greater challenge that now faced them. Then we have work to do, he said simply. As they moved deeper into the human archive, the hologram of Dr. Jin watched them, with an expression that might have been pride. Behind them, the galactic map continued to pulse with light, thousands of human structures scattered across the stars, dormant for millennia, but soon to awaken once more. The abandoned space station hung in orbit around a dying star, its architecture both elegant and imposing. June's team had tracked the coordinates from the lunar archive, hoping to find answers. The power readings are off the scale, Sue reported as they docked their research vessel. Something is still active here after 50 millennia. The station's interior was pristine, as though its occupants had left only yesterday. As they ventured deeper, the corridors seemed to respond to their presence, lights activating and doors opening before them. We're being guided, Jun realized. In the central chamber, a sphere of swirling energy suddenly materialized, causing the team to step back in alarm. Visitors detected, announced a voice that somehow spoke directly into their minds. First contact protocol initiated. The sphere expanded, taking a vaguely humanoid shape. I am Keeper, it said, guardian of this threshold. What is this place? Joan asked. A gateway, Keeper replied. Humans did not perish. They evolved beyond physical form and transcended to another plane of existence. That's impossible, Dai stuttered. Your perspective is limited by your understanding of reality, Keeper said. Humans achieved what you would call godhood, but they maintained their connection to this universe. I was created to monitor the younger races and evaluate their progress. Evaluate us for what? Asked Hana. For reunion, Keeper answered. Humans withdrew to allow others to develop independently, but they always intended to return when the time was right. The journey to the station had been perilous. The Council had sent ships after them, declaring June and his team outlaws for stealing dangerous artifacts. Only Jai's remarkable vessel had kept them ahead of their pursuers. Now they stood in a place untouched by time, face to face with a being that defied understanding. You're not like Jai, Min observed, his gelatinous form rippling with curiosity. He has a physical body. The keepers who remained in physical form chose different paths, the energy being explained. Some, like your guide, modified their bodies to extend their lives. Others, like myself, uploaded our consciousness into the station's systems. June stepped forward, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly as he tried to process what he was seeing. Are you saying you were once human? Yes, the Keeper replied. I was Dr. Tai, Chief Engineer of Transcendence Gate 7. I chose to remain as its guardian. Sue moved to a nearby console, her technical mind trying to make sense of the technology around them. This station, it's the gate itself. The physical component, yes, Keeper confirmed. The gate connects dimensions, allowing travel between planes of existence that normally cannot interact. Jai had been silent until now, standing apart from the others. The void has returned, Ta, earlier than we predicted. The energy being pulsed with what might have been concern. Then our time is short. The young races must be prepared. June felt overwhelmed. In just a few weeks, everything he had believed about the galaxy's history had been upended. And now they spoke of existential threats and dimensional gateways as if discussing the weather. Prepared for what exactly? He asked. You keep talking about the void and preparation, but what does that mean for us? For all the species out there who don't even know humans existed. The Keeper's form shimmered, and suddenly the chamber transformed around them. They found themselves standing in what appeared to be open space, stars surrounding them on all sides. This is a memory projection, Keeper explained. Watch. In the distance, a fleet of sleek vessels moved through space. The designs were unfamiliar, but Jun recognized them as human ships from the archive's images. This was our last battle against the Void, 50,000 years ago. Keeper narrated as dark, shapeless masses appeared from beyond the visible stars. Where they passed, the stars dimmed and vanished. They feed on energy at its most fundamental level, Keeper continued. Stars, planets, life itself, all are food to them. We drove them back beyond the galactic rim, but we knew they would return. The scene shifted, showing humans working on enormous structures, the same gates they now stood within. The ascension was our answer, Keeper said. By evolving beyond physical form, we could exist in the same dimensional plane as the Void. We could fight them on equal terms. The illusion faded, returning them to the station's central chamber. But why leave? Asked Da. Why abandon the galaxy if you knew this threat would return? The ascension required total focus. Jai explained before Keeper could answer. The transformation of an entire species' consciousness cannot be achieved while also maintaining an interstellar civilization. And we needed the younger races to develop independently, Keeper added. To find their own paths, make their own choices. Direct interference would have stunted your growth. So you left clues instead, Hannah said, her crystalline form shimmering. Breadcrumbs for us to follow when the time was right. Yes, Keeper confirmed. And now that time has come. The center of the chamber began to shift, the floor retracting to reveal a massive circular platform. It pulsed with energy, patterns flowing across its surface like liquid light. This is the actual gate, Keeper explained. Currently dormant but ready to activate. What will happen when it's activated? June asked, feeling both fear and anticipation. It will create a stable connection between dimensions, Keeper said, allowing the Ascended to return in a form you can perceive and interact with. Sue looked up from her scanner. The energy required for something like this, it's impossible. Not impossible, Keeper replied, merely beyond your current understanding. The gate draws power directly from subspace, an unlimited source. Jung glanced at his team, seeing his own mixture of emotions reflected in their faces. What do you need us to do? The gate requires a specific activation sequence, Keeper explained. It was designed to respond only to a diverse group of sentient beings working in harmony, a test to ensure your species had moved beyond conflict. A test. Dai sounded indignant. Our entire galaxy faces extinction, and you built in a test. The Void feeds on discord as much as energy, Jai said quietly. If the younger races couldn't work together, the return of humanity would only hasten the end. Keeper's form pulsed in agreement. Each of you represents a species uplifted or influenced by humanity. Together, you must complete the awakening sequence. The chamber's walls lit up with symbols, each corresponding to a different species represented in their group. Your council ships have entered this system, Keeper warned. We have little time. June looked at his team, beings from across the galaxy who had come together in search of truth. They had been brought here for this moment, he realized. Everything had led to this. Tell us what to do, he said. As Keeper began explaining the activation sequence, alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. Multiple vessels approaching. Sue reported, checking the scanners. Council warships. They'd followed us, Day said, her mandibles clicking with worry. No, Jai replied, his silver skin darkening. Not just them. Look. On the scanner display, beyond the approaching council ships, darker shapes moved against the stars, shapes that seemed to absorb the very light around them. The Void, Keeper said, his energy form dimming slightly. They've arrived earlier than expected. The gate must be activated now. As the team rushed to their positions around the platform, Jun realized that the fate of the galaxy now rested on their shoulders. The humans were about to return, and the universe would never be the same. News of June's discovery spread across the galaxy despite the Council's attempts to suppress it. Ships from every species gathered around the ancient station, witnessing as dormant human structures throughout the galaxy began to activate simultaneously. On the observation deck, Jun watched as the space before them distorted, reality itself seeming to fold. "It's beginning," Keeper announced. "After 50,000 years, the dimensional barriers are thinning." A brilliant light erupted from the fold in space, forcing everyone to shield their eyes. When they looked again, vessels unlike any they had seen before hung silently before them, living ships that seemed to be both organic and mechanical at once. From these ships emerged the humans, yet they were both more and less than the historical records had shown. They appeared humanoid, yet their forms shifted subtly, as though physical reality was merely a costume they wore for the comfort of others. "We have been watching," said one who called himself Tai, his voice resonating not through air but directly in their consciousness. "We have seen your species grow, struggle, and learn. The time of separation has served its purpose." "Why did you leave?" June asked, voicing the question that burned in every mind present. "We didn't leave," replied a human called Jin, her form shimmering with colors beyond the visible spectrum. "We evolved, just as you will someday. But evolution need not mean abandonment." The council representatives, who had arrived to witness the event, stepped forward cautiously. "What do you want from us?" their speaker asked. "Nothing," said Ta. "We offer knowledge, partnership, and a place in a greater community of consciousness. We offer perspective that spans dimensions and time itself." As the humans spoke with the gathered representatives, Jun realized that everything they had believed about their place in the universe had been incomplete. They had been living in the shadow of giants all along, building civilizations in the ruins of something greater. Yet the humans spoke not as conquerors returning to claim what was theirs, but as elder siblings reuniting with family after a long absence. "This is not an ending," Jin told June privately as the formal discussions began. "It is the true beginning for all species in this galaxy." June looked out at the stars, suddenly aware that what had seemed like the vast emptiness of space was actually teeming with life and consciousness on levels they had never imagined. Everything would change now, and everything finally made sense. 3 days had passed since the gate activated. The Council warships that had pursued June's team now floated peacefully alongside vessels from 100 different worlds. The news had spread faster than anyone could control it. The ancient progenitors of galactic civilization had returned. June stood in what had once been the station's control room, now transformed into a meeting chamber where representatives from across the galaxy gathered. The room had expanded somehow, defying the physical dimensions that should have limited it. "They're still coming," Dai said, joining him at the viewport. "Look." Beyond the assembled fleet, new ships appeared constantly. Everyone wanted to witness the return of humanity. "The council leader wants to speak with you," she added. "He's waiting in the East Chamber." June nodded. The same council that had dismissed his findings and then hunted him as a criminal now sought his counsel. The irony wasn't lost on him. "Has there been any sign of the void?" he asked. "Not since the humans drove them back," Day replied. "Sue says they retreated beyond scanner range after the first encounter." That first encounter had nearly ended in disaster. As the gate activated, the void entities had attacked both the station and the approaching council ships. Only the timely emergence of the human vessels had prevented catastrophe. June made his way through corridors filled with beings from across the galaxy. Many nodded respectfully as he passed. The disgraced archaeologist had become a historical figure overnight. In the East Chamber, the council leader, a tall Salaxian with elaborately decorated scales, waited anxiously. "Researcher June," he said, his formal tone at odds with the dismissive way he had treated June in the past. "I wanted to personally express the Council's gratitude for your persistence." "You mean the persistence you tried to punish me for?" June couldn't help asking. The leader's scales darkened with embarrassment. "We were wrong. The Council has existed for 3,000 years. maintaining what we thought was the natural order. To learn that everything we believed was incomplete, it was easier to silence the messenger. Jun finished for him. Yes. The leader looked genuinely regretful. But now we must adapt. The humans speak of threats beyond our understanding, of an entire dimension of conflict we never knew existed. The void is just the beginning, came a voice from behind them. They turned to see Jin, her humanoid form glowing softly. Though she appeared solid, there was something about her that suggested she was more than physical. There are wonders and terrors beyond this dimension that your species are now ready to encounter, she continued. That is why we returned. To protect us, the council leader asked. Jin smiled. To elevate you, as we once did for your evolutionary ancestors. The leader bowed slightly and departed, leaving Jun alone with the ascended human. He fears you, Jun observed. Fear is a natural response to the unknown, Jin replied. It will pass as understanding grows. Jun had been wanting to ask a question since the humans first appeared. The archive said humans uplifted many species, guided their evolution. Did you create us? Jin's form shifted, showing glimpses of something more complex than her humanoid appearance. Create? No. Guide? Yes. Life emerges naturally throughout the universe. We simply helped shape its direction in this galaxy. Why? Jun asked. Because we saw potential, Jin replied simply. The same potential we once had. The capacity for growth, for compassion, for wonder. A soft chime sounded throughout the station. It's time, Jin said. The formal introduction is about to begin. They walked together to the central chamber where representatives from every known species had gathered. Millions more watched via transmission across the galaxy. In the center of the chamber, Ta stood with several other ascended humans. Their forms now appeared more solid, more recognizable, a gesture of comfort to the watching species. People of the galaxy, Ta began, his voice reaching every mind present. 50,000 years ago, we made a choice to evolve beyond the limitations of physical form. We did not abandon you. We prepared you. Images appeared in the air, showing the galaxy as it had been, wild, untamed, filled with potential but lacking direction. We shaped worlds, guided evolution, left markers and monuments to be discovered when you were ready, Ta continued. And you have exceeded our hopes. You have built civilizations, explored the stars, and begun to grasp the true nature of existence. But now you face threats we once faced, said another human. The void is just one of many. The universe is vast and filled with wonders and dangers beyond imagining. We return not as rulers, but as teachers and allies, Ta said. The knowledge we offer will transform your understanding of reality itself. The path forward may be difficult, but you will not walk it alone. Jun felt a swell of emotion as he watched the assembled representatives. Species that had been enemies for generations now stood side by side, united by this moment of revelation. This is not merely the return of humanity, Jin whispered to him. This is the awakening of the galaxy itself. As the ceremony continued, Jun thought about his journey, from ridiculed archaeologist to the person who helped reunite the galaxy with its forgotten ancestors. Whatever came next, nothing would ever be the same. And that, he decided, was exactly as it should be. The end.